So could you please help me understand why you've given into all these reckless dark desires?
Eric Sprott, Chief Executive Officer of one of Canada's largest independently owned securities firms, Sprott Asset Management, and he joins us from Plantation, Florida, where he's attending the BMO Mining Conference. It's good to see you, Eric. You're making a presentation there. What are you going to be talking about?
Well, Michael, the main emphasis of the story today is about silver. As you had mentioned, I think silver will be the investment of the decade. I thought gold was the investment of the last decade. And I think silver is now starting to make a run. In fact, I think it's at an absolutely new high today. So I'm going to give some details on why I think silver should go higher.
And is it based on the fundamentals, or is it the religion, just like gold has been governed?
Well, I like to base it on the fundamentals, and I look at various data points that just kind of scream at you that the price of silver has to go higher. And I could give you a couple of examples. For example, the U.S. Mint in the months of January and February sold as many dollars of silver as they sold dollars of gold. I have a little company called Sprott Money that sells silver maples and gold maples. We sell about 5 times more silver maples and gold maples. The Chinese used to export 100 million ounces of silver. They now import 112 million ounces. And that's in a market that's a total of 800 million ounces. So we've seen a 20% shift just in Chinese demand. And where it's coming from, I don't know. Where the silver is coming from. You're probably aware that when we launched our silver trust, we had to go out and buy 15 million ounces. It took us about 10 weeks to get 15 million ounces delivered. And I would point out that silver trades 400 million ounces a day on the COMEX, but try to get 15 million ounces was very, very difficult.
What is silver being used for? We know that a couple of years ago, when digital cameras made a big splash and really undercut the market for photographic film, silver took a real drop. What is it being used for? Is it strictly an investment? Well,
I base my optimism on the new investments that are taking place, you know, the ETFs and the funds like we have, and just the general demand for people to replace their currencies with silver. But last year, for example, industrial production was up something like 18%. There's all sorts of new uses, solar panels, in the healthcare businesses, and bandages and clothing, and various other uses for antibacterial uses. So the industrial demand's been quite surprising, but the real demand has been from the investment side.
All right. Excuse me. Just before we leave silver, we were talking about it trading at an all-time high. Where do you see it going?
Well, there's a secular argument for silver here, and the secular argument is that historically, silver has traded in a ratio to gold of 16 to 1. So in other words, if the price of gold was $1,600, typically silver should trade at $100. But that ratio has been not effective in the last probably 20 or 30 years. The last time it probably traded in that range was in 1980 when the Hunt brothers arranged for the price of silver to go up to $50. But the ratio is coming down. I think today it's probably at 40 or 41, having been as high as 80 to 1. And I think it's going to 16 to 1 again. So quite frankly, in the next 3 to 5 years, I will be the least surprised person in the world to see silver go to $100.
Just thought of something else to ask you, because unlike other commodities, the silver market is in backwardation right now. The prices get lower the further out into the future you get. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells you that there's a silver shortage. And even when we bought silver, for example, for our silver trust, some of the silver we bought was manufactured 2 weeks after we'd purchased it, which really told me there was no inventory around. I mean, if there was inventory, we would have got it in a week. It would have been existing inventory. So I think that There is a tightness in physical silver. That's why the spot month is, I think it's over $1.50, different from about 3 or 4 years out. It's a very unusual situation that exists, and it indicates a short-term supply problem.